Now that we have our view controller, we're going to be able to connect our code with interface elements. Back in the storyboard, we need to inform our view that it is now going to be managed by the class we just created. Let's select it by clicking the top bar and making sure that the top left yellow icon is selected. Then we need to go into the Identity Inspector, which is the third icon in the utility area. Where it says Custom Class, select Splash View Controller from the drop-down menu. Now let's close the utility area. Click on the Assistant Editor icon. Our editor pane is split into two. One side for our storyboard, the other side with our class. If Xcode hasn't selected your Splash View Controller file by default, you can find it by using the top navigation bar. From the storyboard, I'm going to click on the label to select it, and then do a control click and drag from it towards the class file. Xcode then draws a fishing line that starts from the label. When I let go of the mouse, a dialog box pops up with configuration options for our connection. In the name field, I'm going to type message label. The type field should indicate which class type our element belongs to. Here it is a UI label. The storage field must indicate weak. Click on Connect to confirm. Xcode writes a line of code defining our new property. In Swift, we define an IBOutlet property with the following syntax. First comes the keyword weak. IBOutlet properties can either be weak or strong. Strong means that you are, through your code, in charge of the property lifecycle. As long as you keep referencing it, it exists in memory. Weak means that you're not in charge of the property lifecycle and that the program will remove it from memory if references to it are no longer made. Then we have the keyword var, which indicates that we have a variable, followed by our variable name, message label. Finally, we have the property type, UI label, after the semicolon and an exclamation mark, which is there to forcibly unwrap the variable, meaning that at runtime, our program can be sure that there will be a value for our variable and it won't unexpectedly find nil. Now that we have a connection between our interface and our code, we can use it to interact with the corresponding elements in our view. I'm going to use our code to change the message displayed by the label. Let's close the Assistant Editor and switch to the class file. Inside the viewDidLoad method, if I start typing message label, Xcode autocomplete our code. This is a feature called Code Sense, which predicts what you're going to type next. We want to modify one of our label's properties. Here we want to modify its text property. But how do we know what properties a UI label has? We're going to check the documentation by positioning the mouse over the word UI label, and then by pressing the Option key on our keyboard. A question mark appears. Keep the Option key pressed and then click to open a dialog box which gives us a description of what a UI label is. So we can click on the link to open up the documentation window. We can see the text property, and that is defined as being the text displayed by the label. Let's close the documentation window and we're going to add dot text equals taste of Japan. Now let's save and click on Run to launch it in the iPhone 6s simulator. The message label is now displaying the text we entered in our code. In this section, you've just learned a whole range of new things. How to connect interface elements with the code in your application, how to define properties, how to use the Xcode documentation, and how to act on and modify interface element properties. In the next section, we're going to use this newly acquired knowledge to personalize our welcome screen and make it more dynamic.